I remember when I received my first smartphone, I spent almost all day playing with it and figuring it out. I happened to be in high school at the time and I was just a few months away from graduating high school. And I found myself actually dropping test scores and forgetting about assignments because my cell phone became such a companion to me that I had forgotten about the things that actually matter. Do we forget about what is most important? How much time do we spend using our devices to access social media? I will use myself as an example. I am a full-time college student. I am studying at Brigham Young University, Idaho. I am studying 14 credits hours a week. That means out of the 96 hours that the week gives me while I am awake, I am studying or in class for 28 hours. That gives me 68 hours a week to find other things to do. If most college students are like me, they will always feel overwhelmed and often will say to themselves, I have too much to do, or I am just so busy I don't have time. So where does all of our extra time go? I would like to speak today about the time we spend completing real life tasks and the time that we spend falling into social media, or as I like to call it, the fantasy life. First, I will speak about the changes in lifestyle, the way that we live now in the 21st century. Later, I would like to discuss time management using a simple method called Big Rocks. I am convinced that we can do more with our time and even do better. Whatever it may be, family, work, or your faith, I believe it comes down to some good time management. Do we actually believe our time is being well spent on our smart devices or on the internet? I would like to show you what a few experts have said about internet usage and spending too much time on those devices. In a study completed by Valentina Rodondi, information on the social disadvantages of using a smartphone too much were addressed. She found that in Italy, as the percentage of internet usage on any device grew, the interaction with friends and family of the population decreased. How many of you have felt that there just isn't time to see a loved one, or that the day just flew by and you couldn't visit a friend? On those days that are so busy and loaded, how much time are we spending on the internet? The other day I got a new job. I work in the office here at my apartment building. We had an office meeting on my very first day and our managers asked us to not use our phones during work because it gives a bad image and we don't get as much done as we could. I considered it and decided to follow the rule until just a few days later I saw two of my managers listening to Spotify and using their cell phones in the office. I decided to study a little and found out why it may be a company policy, and I found a study done by a man named Elish Duke. He did a study on addictive behaviors, and one section was based on smartphone addiction. In the case study, a group of office workers were asked to work without their phones for a week, and the next week were allowed to use their phones. They were given a certain test called the SAS, where they were scored on their productivity. Here are some interesting numbers from the tests. In the first week, they snuck their phones in the office for an average time of about 3 hours. When they were allowed to phone usage, they used their phone on an average of 4 hours every day during their work schedule, and only about 1 hour of those 4 were actually used for work-related things. The team was actually barely better or more productive when they had the use of phones. However, much more time was wasted. I came across a great teaching the other day called Big Rocks. I did not write this speech to convince you all to throw your smartphones away. However, I would like us to consider an important truth about life. In the teaching called Big Rocks, we learn about time management. I will use a visual aid to help me explain. Life will be represented by this carton. And I'm going to actually help you guys see this a little bit. This carton is our daily schedule. And a lot of times in life, we have a lot of things that are mindless, that aren't really worth our time. And that's going to be represented by some water. So I'm going to go ahead and fill our day, spend a little bit of time doing nothing, not really important. This is, the water can be anything mindless, internet surfing, stuff that really doesn't help us. Okay. Also in life, we come across a lot of things that just aren't super important. We don't really need to be doing, but we do them anyways. This is going to be represented by sand. So we Put a little bit of sand in there. And we fill up our day a little bit with sand. Okay? Probably put a little bit more in there. This is, I don't know, looking at work emails or whatever. You know, things you could be doing, but you could be doing better things, you know? Okay. Also, we have something that's called small rocks. Small rocks are things that are pretty important, but again, not super necessary. Not too necessary. Okay. And at the end of the day, we decide we want to put in what's called the big rocks. The big rocks will be something that's really important. Let's say family and a workout maybe. And religion. And we realize that we can't really fit all of our rocks into our day. And our day gets filled up. And we get stuck with a full schedule that we can't take care of. We can't fill it. We can't fill it with the things we need to fill it with. And that's what happens to a lot of us as college students. But you guys will see that if we rearrange things a little bit, the whole idea changes. We have a new schedule. This time, what we're going to do is put in the big rocks first. Family, schoolwork, religion, and a workout. All right, we have all of our important things in there. Now we have plenty of room, plenty of time, so we can start doing the other sort of important stuff. We can even do a little more. Pretty important stuff, not too important. A little bit of rearranging. Then we even have time for the not so important stuff, the stuff that's just kind of, I don't know, doing whatever, you know, just enjoying it, having fun, doing whatever. And we still have time for even more. And when we're finished doing that, we even have time to do the brainless stuff that doesn't really mean anything at all. And we can do a lot of it. Plenty of that. And we can even put more sand in there if we want to. More of the other stuff. And that's our day. And as you can see, we were able to easily fit in the most important things. My idea, what I wanted to share with you today, was that in my example, if you decide to put your big rocks first, if you find what your big rocks are, and you decide to put them first, you can find the room to complete your daily tasks, to be effective, and to enjoy all of the things that we enjoy normally on our smart devices. There's a good way to utilize our time and to put our smartphones and other devices to use. Can we then put ourselves into a position that allows us to enjoy fantasy or social media, but not lose ourselves in it? Obviously we can. I say that we can manage our time wisely, complete our duties for the day, and we will always find time to fill that jar with brain candy. I know that time management is the key to controlling the great power that we hold in our hands.